Most people know Nirjala Ekadashi as the fast where you give up food and water for 24 hours. But here's something that most people don't know. According to one of our Puranas, going without water for a day is not the complete vratam. There is a second half to this vratam, and if you skip it, tradition says that the observance may remain incomplete. Watch this video and stay with me because by the end of this video, you will know the part of Nirjala Ekadashi that almost nobody talks about. Namaskaram, my name is Kumar, author and screenwriter, and welcome to another episode of Chaturya, the fourth state. Today we are diving into a timeless dialogue from the Padma Purana to understand not just why is this the most demanding of all the 24 Ekadashis, but what the scripture says you're actually required to do once the fasting ends on Dwadashi. And this episode is divided into simple chapters, so if you want to jump straight to a particular part of the story, the timestamps are right there on your screen. But if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, then please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and also to turn on the bell icon for notifications. In our modern wellness spaces, concepts like deep fasting and dry detoxes are constantly being researched, and it's very trendy as well. But thousands of years ago, the creators of our ancient texts mapped out a severe spiritual discipline designed to push human willpower to its absolute limits. Among all the 24 Ekadashis observed throughout the year, there is one that stands as an absolute mountain peak in traditional practice. It is called Nirjala Ekadashi. Nirjala literally translates to without water. Tradition dictates that for 24 hours, continuous hours, from sunrise to the following dawn of Dwadashi, a practitioner must abstain from both food and water. But how is it possible to do this, especially during the time right before the monsoon arrives in the country in the summer heat? For this, we have to listen to a story from our Puranas. Long ago, during a massive gathering of sages led by Shaunaka, they were deeply immersed in learning the traditional histories of the sacred calendar from Sutta. And they requested to know the background behind the most intensive observance of all, the one that falls during the bright half, that is Shukla Paksha of the summer month of Jyeshtha, which is known as Nirjala Ekadashi. To explain its significance, Sutta turned to that famous dialogue between Bhima and his grandfather, the great Maharishi Vyasa, the author of Mahabharata. Now, Bhima was a warrior of monumental proportions. He was said to possess the physical strength of thousands of elephants. The very term Vanaramayram comes from Bhima in a way. But he carried a unique challenge. While his brothers Yudhishthira, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva and their queen Draupadi strictly observed the traditional monthly Ekadashi day, Bhima simply could not because he was always hungry. So deeply upset, feeling that his inability to control his appetite was a failure to show proper devotion toward Bhagavan Vishnu, Bhima approached his grandfather, Vyasa, with raw honesty. Bhima said, "My family urges me to refrain from eating on these days of Ekadashi, and I truly want to honor Bhagavan through prayers and charity, but I cannot stay without food for even a single meal, let alone a whole day. Inside my stomach, there's a fierce digestive fire, the fire of Vrika, that is only quieted when I eat massive quantities of food. So please tell me, is there any single solitary observance I can keep that can grant me spiritual liberation instead of observing fasts for 24 Ekadashis?" Now this brings out a beautiful universal lesson. One should never hide their core weaknesses from their mentors or family elders. By laying bare his vulnerability, Bhima opened the door for a solution. And what was the solution? Maharishi Vyasa explained that the scriptures mandate fasting on both Ekadashis of every month to purify the body and clear the path to higher realms. But seeing Bhima's genuine distress, Vyasa provided a massive compensatory blueprint, an idea that would change his life. Vyasa made a point that scholars consider relevant even today. As the world moves into the Kali Yuga, he said, human beings naturally lose the capacity for massive, complex and costly ancient rituals. Tradition holds that a single absolute Nirjala observance was designed by the seers as a kind of spiritual equalizer. Vyasa told Bhima that the Ekadashi falling at the burning peak of the Jyeshtha month carried a supreme dispensation. According to the scripture, a devotee who stands steadfast through this single day abstaining completely from food and water from sunrise to the next day's dawn, receives the benefit of all the 24 Ekadashis of the year combined. Now, the Padma Purana even describes what tradition believes awaits such a devotee at the end of the life. It speaks of Yama's messenger, fierce, dark, scary, holding staffs and nooses of death, who was said to approach most souls after death or at the time of death. But for the one who has kept this particular vratam, the Purana says that instead of Yamadutas, Vishnu's dutas or messengers come. And these messengers of Vishnu are gentle, they're dressed in yellow silk, swift as thought, who are said to lead the soul to Vishnu's own abode, that is Vaikuntha. The text lays out very precise rules for this trial. During the morning ritual known as Achamana, a practitioner may let water touch their mouth, but it must not be swallowed. The scripture specifies that the quantity must not exceed a tiny drop, the size of a mustard seed. This minute amount is believed to purify the subtle channels of the body. Vyasa then declared to Bhima, "O son of Vayu, Bhagavan himself has revealed that the merit of this single day is equivalent to visiting every sacred pilgrimage and making endless donations. If a person stands steadfast through this thirst under the summer sun, they are freed from the heaviest of life's errors." But before we go further, I want to pause for a moment of reality check here, because this is a seriously demanding observance, going without food and water for a full day, often in the peak summer heat. Even within these texts, there's room made for human limitation, and that's really the whole spirit of Bhima's story. So if you have any health condition or are pregnant or elderly or on medication, then please speak to a doctor or a healthcare professional before attempting a fast like this. The scriptures themselves, as you're about to see, place devotion to Bhagavan above rigid physical extremities. Because of this dialogue which took place between Bhima and Vyasa, this day, this Nirjala Ekadashi is known across our heritage as Bhimseni Ekadashi or Pandava Ekadashi. And inspired by his grandfather's guidance, Bhima gathered his immense mental strength, and the tradition tells us, endured the intense summer day without water. But here's where most retellings of the story simply stop. And that's exactly the part I promised you at the beginning of this video. The Padma Purana doesn't end the woe at sunrise on Dwadashi. It actually goes further and tells you what you must do on Dwadashi to complete the vratam. Firstly, Bhagavan Vishnu should be worshipped on Dwadashi, and immediately after that, the text turns to what should be given. It asks devotees to donate large earthen pitchers filled to the brim with cool water. Only after this act of giving water, or jala, does a practitioner complete his vratam. And there's one more promise tucked into this passage. The Puranam says that whoever listens to this story with devotion or tells it to others shares in that same merit. So if you have stayed with me this far, that includes you too. Before touching any food or water himself, Bhima followed these exact steps on the morning of Dwadashi, waking before dawn, performing his prayers, and distributing meals and water to those around him before he served himself. According to the Padma Purana, this is not an optional act of charity tagged onto the fast. It is by the text's own account what completes the vow. A practitioner who fasts but does not give water on Dwadashi has, by this reading, only done half of what Vyasa had asked of Bhima. It is because the second Pandava brother honored both halves of this vow that the following dawn is celebrated across India as a historic Pandava Dwadashi. So when we step back, Nirjala Ekadashi starts to look quite different from how people describe it. It isn't simply an act of personal endurance. According to the Padma Purana, the entire point of going thirsty yourself is so that you remember sharply and physically what thirst feels like, and then go out and make sure that no one near you has to feel it. The underlying philosophy of Nirjala Ekadashi forces us to confront a vital metaphysical truth. Our tradition did not design these severe fasts as a form of punishment. They were engineered as a systematic test of human consciousness over material dependency. And our tradition is equally clear that this mastery isn't meant to stay private. It's meant to turn outward into water pitchers, shade, and food given to someone else before you take your own first sip. that, according to the scripture, is a complete Nirjala Ekadashi, not just the fast, the giving part too. So now we know the part of this vratam that rarely makes it to the retellings. If you like this video, then please comment Nirjala Ekadashi below. Now I want to hear from you. Have you or your family members ever attempted the immense mental challenge of a true Nirjala fast? What did it teach you about your own inner strength? Let's get a deep conversation started in the comments below. If you found value in this breakdown of Nirjala Ekadashi, please share this video with your friends and family and subscribe to Chaturya and help us bring these timeless patterns of our heritage to light. And may Bhagavan be with you.